it. So clerk, please take public testimony.
Yes, we do have speakers on item 32, several in opposition, one in favor. Let me just first note for the record that items 30 and 31 stand approved by unanimous consent since they were not pulled for discussion. However, item 32, since it has been pulled for discussion, will require actually a vote to be taken on it. We'll begin with our opposition speakers, Wendy Wheatcroft, followed by Carol Landale, followed by Tim Taylor. Please come forward. You'll each have 2 minutes. Let me also note Elizabeth Harley, Ann Fellman, Stephen Bartram, and Susan Taylor also registered opposition speaker slips but did not wish to speak. And after opposition speakers, we'll turn to in favor. So first, Wendy Wheatcroft, followed by Carol Landale.
Thank you, esteemed council. My name is Wendy Wheatcroft, and I'm the San Diego group lead of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. It was brought to my attention that some of you have signed a proclamation declaring May 6th San Diego County Gun Owners Day. This is disturbing to me on many levels. As I read the proclamation, I could see how this may have happened and how you were possibly hoodwinked by the language that they used. I saw the words gun safety spread throughout. If you consider training more people to shoot weapons made to kill and recruiting more people to learn how to shoot a weapon, gun safety, please tell me if more people shooting guns in our city makes you feel safer. There are many things I could say about San Diego County gun owners, like how they issued a statement to the press 2 days after the horrific La Jolla UTC shooting, where they suggested that if only the victims had been armed, then this would not have happened. Can you imagine people carrying guns at a pool? Then they went on to call on Sheriff Gore to issue more CCW permits. Harassing Sheriff Gore to issue more permits is another one of their favorite pastimes. They share the NRA vision of guns everywhere all the time, and their special day is dated a mere 5 days after the horrific UTC shooting. Additionally, they are a PAC, which means their ultimate goal is to raise money and contribute to candidates who support their vision, which makes your signing of their proclamation even more inappropriate. Let's talk about what real gun safety and gun violence prevention looks like in our community. There's currently a team called CAST, Community Assistance and Support Team, comprised of the SDPD, Sheriff's Department, Probation Department, faith-based leaders, the District Attorney's Office, Compassion Project, Brady Campaign, and Moms Demand Action. We meet once a month to discuss violence in the community as a team. We problem solve. And we also walk the neighborhoods that are at risk for violence once a week and knock on doors to speak to members of the community. We share gun safety information that encourages parents to lock up their guns away from their children and to ask if there are guns where their children play.
Thank you.
A year ago yesterday was the largest mass shooting of our country. I ask for you to please pull this proclamation. Thank you for your understanding.
Thank you.
Carol Landale, followed by Tim Taylor.
Thank you, and thank you for having us here, esteemed council members. I'm Carol Landale, and I am a member of the San Diego chapter of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence, but I'm also here today on behalf of many concerned citizens. There are just a few of us here today, but we do represent a great number of San Diego citizens who would be appalled to know that their city council has dedicated a day to gun ownership. While we respect the Second Amendment, we also recognize the responsibilities that come with gun ownership. The proclamation does not focus so much on the aspect of gun ownership, but instead it states that one of the purposes of the San Diego County gun owners is, and I quote, to develop a strong permanent infrastructure in San Diego that focuses on changing the face of gun ownership by getting volunteers involved in local activism. It also states that the group has taught more than 600 San Diegos how to shoot. Having more shooters and guns in our neighborhoods will do little for the safety of our city. It is inevitable that not all of these newly trained shooters will be responsible and follow best practices. What is most concerning is that the proclamation glorifies guns for a group that is a political action committee and whose goals are to weaken California's strong gun laws. The group has worked actively against Proposition 63, which was passed last year by the majority of California voters, and which strengthens California's gun laws, and without interfering with Second Amendment rights. California has, the gun rate in California
Please have one concluding sentence
has
because your time
declined
is up.
over 50%. I respectfully request that the Council revisit its endorsement of the proclamation and carefully look at the goals of the San Diego County gun owners. And I'd like to thank Councilmember Ward for not signing this proclamation.
Thank you. Tim Taylor. And after Mr. Taylor speaks, we'll turn to the speaker in favor, Michael Schwartz.
Honorable Council President, Council members, good morning. I'm Tim Taylor, Council District 3. I recognize that this proclamation has already been handed out and the Council can't very well not approve it today. However, I'm here to respectfully urge the Council members and the Mayor to, in the future, refrain from utilizing ceremonial processes like council proclamations to support overtly political groups and individuals like this Political Action Committee. It doesn't matter the political persuasion of the group or individual. Council proclamations are a valuable way to recognize groups and individuals who contribute to the general welfare of the community. Many of these honorees would never otherwise get the recognition that they deserve. But a group like the San Diego County gun owners, whose main purpose is to campaign for and against candidates or officials, is not appropriate subject matter for a council proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll turn to the speaker in favor, Michael Schwartz. Mr. Schwartz, please come forward.
I couldn't be happier and more proud of this, and thank every one of you for signing it who signed this. This means a lot to our membership who come together and do good work every single day. We've given over 700, people a first-time shooting experience where we're teaching safety and responsibility to people that wouldn't get that message otherwise. And our members were elated when they heard about this. One of my board members, her name's Gina Roberts, and she's a leader in the LGBT community, a very vocal voice in the community. And I showed her this, and she could hardly talk. She actually had a tear in her eye. And when I asked her why, she said, well, because when you're someone like me, inclusion and acceptance doesn't come every single day. And this is what you guys are saying. You're saying, you know what, forget partisan politics, forget bigotry. Our members are made up of members of the LGBT groups, African Americans in San Diego, Asian, Pacific Islanders, Latino, you name it, across the board, young and old, men and women, and we finally have a way to get our message, a message of safety and inclusion and community to San Diego. And I really appreciate you guys recognizing that and signing this proclamation. It meant a lot to our members. It means a lot to me. And we're going to continue to do the great work that we do. And I thank you for looking over the flack and seeing us for what we really are. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the public speakers on this item.
Thank you. Turning to Councilmember questions and comments, Councilmember Bree.
Great. First of all, thank you, Wendy, Carol, and Tim for coming down here today. I'm honored that I was endorsed by the Brady campaign, and I will be voting no on this.
Thank you. Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you very much. I appreciate members of the public being here. As the member of the council who brought forward the assault weapons ban that this council never acted on or supported, I think it's pretty clear where I stand on these issues. In addition to that, I am the member who brings forward on an annual basis the Ask campaign. For those who don't know what it is, it's Asking Saves Kids. Saves Kids. It's making sure that when your kids go play at your friend's house or a family member's house, that you ask their parents to make sure that they have precautions in place to prevent from the use of a weapon if there is one in the household. That's an important message. I'm going to vote for this because it's a ceremonial item, not because it speaks to where I stand on the issue. In fact, I hope that members who oppose this today, because it is perhaps, appears to be maybe too pro one thing or another, join me in supporting the Brady's campaign request to oppose H.R. 38 and Senate Bill 446. I want to bring that forward, and so if you oppose this today, then I hope you join me in pushing that so we can actually take a real step in doing something substantive as it relates to gun safety. This is a ceremonial item. It's a courtesy to my colleague. It doesn't take a position on this issue. We can take a position, I hope we will, on those two bills that I'm going to request that this council takes action on. And if you, again, don't support this today, I hope you join me in supporting this motion that I'll be bringing forward. And if you speak about, and care about gun safety, I hope you also support H.R. 38 and Senate Bill 446. That will lead to real safety in our communities here in California. So.
Thank you. Councilmember Sherman.
Yeah, thank you. And I kind of wanted to agree with Councilmember Alvarez here that these items are ceremonial. We do these on a regular basis. I've signed plenty of things that I don't agree with because it's a courtesy to our fellow council members and the constituents that they are talking to. That's what we do. This is a ceremonial item. My signature is already on it, along with everybody else's. It's kind of tough to take your signature back once you put it there. But again, ceremonial item. And for the Brady campaign and the Moms Demand Action, people who are here today, if you want the ceremonial item for yourselves, bring it forward. I'd be happy to sign that one too.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for those that have that came to express your concerns about this proclamation. And I originally, when this was brought to my attention for my signature, I hesitated, but I didn't know what the protocol was. New council member learning the ropes here. But after hearing some of my colleagues, especially my council colleague Alvarez, I have to say that, and also Mr. Sherman, to say that I do agree that these are ceremonial proclamations. More than committed on the issue. I do think that we should be having a stronger stance on guns, especially, for those of you, yesterday was a year recognition of what happened in Orlando, and we got to recognize that there were some shooting that occurred that led to many folks being, dying because of who they love. It's really unfortunate, and we still have those situations out there. We're committed than ever in really bringing ordinances. If Mr. Alvarez, if you bring this ordinance, I'll be more than willing to support it. If we need a memo, more willing to support it. We do need to create policies. And in regards to the proclamation, I've signed it already. That doesn't mean that does not reflect how I feel about guns. But also, just like Mr. Alvarez said, I'm more than willing to do policy, which really influences exactly what we do. So because of it, out of respect of my colleague who led this effort, I'll be voting yes. But I'm more than happy to bring back policies to really change the situation.
Councilmember Kate.
Thank you, Council President, and I appreciate the comments by my colleagues, because going into this morning, it certainly could have gone a different way. And what I fear and what I don't want to have happened is when we are looking at these ceremonial proclamations and it's going to become partisan in nature. And I reflect on some of my past colleagues who are no longer here in a time where issues and proclamations on hotly debated topics outside of these chambers were not signed. And we've moved to a point where, even though some may not agree with all the issues, I myself have signed proclamations that I don't fully support, and organizations that fully support, or their items that they advocate for, I don't fully support, but I've signed it anyways because of the fact that I want to be a good colleague and work with others who may have differences of opinions and ideas than I do, and I respect that. If items come before us, we can have those policy debates here, and we may differ on those items. But there was a time in recent history in San Diego where people did not stand for certain issues, they didn't sign proclamations, and they were hotly contested and very partisan in nature. And my fear coming into this morning was that that was the direction of this new council and where we were going to be going. I hope that's not the case. And I will say to stand at that podium and say that proclamations that we have adopted in the past, or this one is the exception because it appears political on its face, is absurd, absolutely absurd. We have taken political positions on proclamations in the past, and to say that this is any different than other ones in the past, I'm sorry, I can't. It's really frustrating for me. I will respect whatever decision the council makes on this item. I appreciate the comments that have been made, but my hope is that we don't use this as a turning point in the direction that this council is going. And if it comes down to debating the issues, I'm more than happy to have those debates. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Thank you, Council President. Just want to clarify that when you act as a body at a public meeting. So your votes, that whether or not this proclamation is approved is dependent upon how you vote and is not necessarily predetermined by whether or not you signed the document. So the moment of approval is when you approve the proclamation by a roll call vote, which is what you're going to do on this one, or your more typical approval by unanimous consent. That is also you acting in public and voting on an item. So just to make sure that that was clear. Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney. So we have a motion by Councilmember Kate, seconded by Councilmember Sherman. Please vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
That passes with Councilmember Bree and Councilmember Ward voting no.
Thank you. The city clerk will now read the closed session items into the record and note any public speakers on these items. Clerk, please proceed.
Yes, we have no speakers. Let me read the items into the record. Conference of Legal Counsel, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to California Government Code Section 546.9 CS1, 4018 to 4024 Hamilton Street. Michael Sherman. Conference of Legal Counsel, existing litigation pursuant to California Government Code